Hey everybody, it's the Last Robokai here, and it's time for some more Fate Samurai Remnant in the Can Command Championship. I managed to not have a Can Command conniption this time. I'm doing well. I'm on fire today. Hello, cool guy. Welcome to the second part of the Berserker path.
K C C K K C K C K K K C C C C K. There we go. I did it. What exactly I did, I'm not sure.
well, I think I definitely heard a KKK in there. So let's get stuck straight in. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, we've had an interesting time. We've got both berserkers in our team, and we're moving on to the part where we try and have our final fight, and Ibuki's gonna drop in and cause problems. Be interesting to see how Ibuki handles what is effectively a trio, as the master is still sitting in the stands. Now let's get stuck straight in. This is episode 50, by the way. I didn't mention it during the intro.
5-0. It's a milestone of some sort. I don't know.
I think the first episode went up the first week of December of this, so we're getting close to its birthday as well. For the next one. It's not at the 52 episode mark. So.
That'll be the honor of whoever we do next. Who is next, anyway?
It'll be Zhang and Zhou next.
Ah, okay.
The bromance.
The internal bromance. Oh man, those poses. Holy crap.
That'll make for a good splash for the thumbnail.
Particularly with Samson flexing like that.
Yeah, I didn't use the first one from the last episode for it because I didn't want to spoil for everybody that it was a Berserker team.
No matter. Ma-yoi indeed.
That in itself is interesting.
Yeah, like, boss knows exactly who that is. I love the excited squeeing in the background.
That was just all of like Shosetsu's like school ronin. Just all these dudes squealing. Don't worry about it.
Shosetsu's going to lodge a complaint. Probably my favorite comment in regards to last the last episode that's going up was in response to Masashi being like, "Oh God, I'm gonna let myself get distracted by udon. I blame my berserker spirit origin," and the response was, "No, she's always like that." She's just making excuses. I am too, so like I can relate to her on that.
And she definitely once tried to make udon in a Holy Grail, so that's a canon event.
I still need to go out and frickin' have ramen or chanko or something like that every so often before we do these, because otherwise anything that
Musashi does will just make me unbearably hungry while we're trying to commentate. Jesus, dude! I'd say relax, but that's like against your programming. Oh, here you go!
I mean, I had to. I basically had to. Shasensa's been asking for a good. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, that's right. That move. Like, why am I slapping
Ryder
away?
finally figures out a way to pull you off the master.
But what if I just do this instead?
What if Bimu?
What if I, you know, the special saber power of shooting a laser?
At some point or another, Musashi found the Master Sword.
You know, it's just a fate joke that all sabers are armed with like a laser beam out of their sword.
Okay.
It's just because that's like Excalibur is like a lot of other like sabers that came after have a similar thing. My personal favorite is King Richard the Lionheart in Strange Fake. His noble phantasm is Excalibur, but it's not the real Excalibur. It's just that like he was like really like, you know, basically the way they tell us he was very inspired by stories of like King Arthur and so forth. And so basically he could just grab any like sword or whatever and use it to fire a beam.
Because it just suddenly becomes Excalibur. That sounds like something Richard would do.
Yeah.
Booyah!
The funniest part is like generally speaking, it's not that effective. Except at one point, Gil makes the mistake of shooting swords at him, and he grabs one.
Hoisted by my own petard of the gates of Babylon.
Help!
これは何が
Don't you giggle like that. Don't you be creepy.
小説あなたはどうかそこにてお待ちくださいあなたが瞬く刹那にかの狂戦士どもの首はね落としてみせましょう
Getting dangerously close to awakening here.
いざお頭にかけるのよ
ライダーライダー一体何が起きてる司祭はわからないけれど魔力戦力増大と見たなるほどこれはさらなる難敵の予感
The angriest man ever.
一気に決着をつけましょう危機迫るとはこのことかいいわならば鬼をも切ってみせましょう
I'm a little sad that that Ryder didn't try to interfere and clash with Samson. That would have been fun to see.
Would have been nice. But we are in the festive zone now, so.
Yep. Now it's just basically spamming special moves forever. Ah, here we go.
Just love watching all like the tandem moves and the shield bouncing and things.
Oh, that was super cool. Just rushing the gauntlet like that. That looked amazing. Also helps that the music here, as we have said multiple times before, absolutely slaps.
Yeah, no, it's got a fantastic soundtrack. I feel like just, you know, they get it, and honestly, I feel like a lot of the Fate franchise has pretty good music. They understand like how important like music is to a lot of this stuff. It's so important for storytelling. And this song captures like a perfect balance of there's something somewhat frantic going on, but it's not an oppressive super hell boss fight.
Yeah, the music is always the heartbeat of a scene. Like you've got you need to set the heartbeat correctly, or nothing else feels correct. Anybody who's ever had a heart palpitation will tell you that. Dude, each shout gets longer.
Samson barely moves.
He's already braced. Just too big for this.
At the same time, a man who has a god's grace would probably not be too overwhelmed by the power of a different god.
Yep. I've seen this before. Don't worry about it.
It's like, that's some nice god's authority you've got there. I'm wearing mine. It's my hair. It's in my hair.
I love the change that happens here. It's still hilarious even after we've seen it a couple of times.
When she was alive, Musashi did face a servant version of Shuten Doji during the Shomose incident. In that particular case, though, Shuten Doji is typically an assassin. She was a berserker. But in that particular case, all the evil servants (quotation marks) had their spirit origins and very essences like just wholly corrupted by like some absolute horrible evil Jesuit sorcery. That's where Jesuit sorcery comes from. That entire thing.
Outstanding.
改めて自分からも名乗っておくわ。私、伊吹童子というの。いろいろあって限界したはぐれのサーバント。今回はそうそう、ルーラーです。仲良くしてね、二人と観客席の美人さんもね。
Called out.
Technically involved.
親善試合って一体いずこの神様の御前か首をひねっていたわけだけど、あなただったってわけ。
大正解。元よりこの試合っていうのはね、ここに限界した私を封じるための。
Somewhat amusingly, it feels like, Ibuki's probably the character most, capable of having, like, a conversation with Musashi, since they both just tend to use more modern terms nobody else in this time period even remotely understands.
They've also both, they also both probably remember previous incarnations of themselves a little bit better than everybody else.
Well, Musashi technically has had her human life and now her servant life. She is not, as a servant, actually unmanifested at all.
Right. In this case, I'm kind of referring to her different incarnations in different timelines as lives there.
もう安弘くん
Yeah, not so sure about Ibuki Doji.
死ぬって顔しないの実際こうしておとなしくしてるわけだしはあがっかりねえ王様あの黄金のお酒
Because by all accounts, technically timeline-wise, like if you like, and by timeline-wise I mean the existence of Musashi here. She exits the stage before Ibuki Doji is even introduced to Fate Grand Order.
What, like, she made, like, I remember way back at the beginning, she made a comment about how her spirit origin was a berserker this time. Like, roughly how many incarnations has she had?
Well, that's just it. Like, she had her human life. She
Right.
died at the end of Shimosa and was summoned as a servant. And since then, that's just been her. She just gets teleported around, but by some quirk, as she's been manifested in this reality, she's had a slightly altered spirit origin.
Yeah, I guess the question I'm asking is how many times has she been teleported around at this point?
Oh, way more than like we ever are actually shown.
Ah, okay.
She talks about how she's been to like the Wild West. She's been to Russia. She's been to like the Russia that takes place in the first Lost Belt. She's in Atlantis. She's in like the Greek Lost Belt where the gods still reign supreme. That sort of thing. She appeared in the Grand Canyon and in the process of making a Grail Udon, created a a mess. At that point, her spirit origin was divided between herself as a berserker and another part of herself, which kind of had to be sealed away. It's kind of complicated to explain the summer one. Basically, the whole thing was just sort of to put together to try and suppress the part of Musashi that had split off. But they used like the excess energy to try and sort of turn it into something that could be manageable. And so it ended up being turned into like this like casino, Las Vegas-y style themed land. And mostly that just comes down to Merlin. Merlin thought it would be funny. Merlin was like, "I'll fix this. Don't worry about it." He asked the Lancer version of King Arthur, Artoria. He asked her to help out, and so she did. She became ruler Artoria, the supreme casino ruler, and together they created the Las Vegas singularity. Atop the Grand Canyon, I think it was. It's very silly, but don't worry about it.
like once you started mentioning like super Las Vegas like that, my mind was absolutely swamped by mental images of Musashi basically just getting incredibly drunk with like a bottle of whiskey in one hand, a cigarette in the other, and the shittiest like show music that is just completely generic to Las Vegas playing. Like that's just.
What's really kind of funny though is Musashi, when she meets the cast, doesn't want to sort of have to explain what's going on to them, partially because she's really embarrassed it happened to her. So she gives them a fake name. When they're like, "Oh, Musashi's like, no, I'm Mimoto Iori."
Don't worry about it. I'm not that other weirdo.
That was the first mention of Iori in like the Fate franchise. Fate Samurai Hermit comes out way later, and it's hard to say if like technically in the Musashi timeline this one came first, and that's just her little way of like pranking Iori. Because no doubt they would end up having to explain to him when he arrives in Chaldea what happened, and he'd just be like,
Yeah, that would pretty much exactly be his response. Homie just basically looks there, sweating and being really uncomfortable with the entire situation.
So there you go.
Oh!
We cannot suplex
But it still
suplex
does
the snake.
damage.
That did a lot. That did a lot.
It did a ton of damage, but you cannot suplex the snake.
You can, however, splash atop her, so it's okay.
All you needed was a turnbuckle.
This is how upset Samson is about this. He just.
I'm with him on that.
Delilah, I can't suplex the snake.
You'd probably suplex Gil, though.
願い叶えたくばお前の魂を見せよ。
You too.
This is like whatever, man.
痛いよ。どうして医者にかからないの？
こんな区界で抜け出せずに。
And Dayu recognizes that one.
これってまさか太陽への精神攻撃？
Buki's playing mean.
ものを見せるじゃないか。私の覚悟を問うてるのかい？それならいいさ。何度だって見つめてみせる。何度だって最後までね。バーサーカーの旦那、お願いできるかい？武蔵ちゃん。
さすがは太夫、弱みを突かれても揺らぐことなし。一刻も早く全て打ち払ってくれましょう。我が刃切れぬものなし。
Man, I can't help but notice that that Samson appears to be a much more useful partner than anybody else. Like,
Yeah.
he constantly comes out with these giant moves that, like, okay, they don't do a ton of damage, right? But they do noticeable damage. Like, you can see the enemy's health actually move. Like if you just stand there and wait for example, Saber to chip away at an enemy, you will be waiting there all day. But when Samson hits something, controlled or not,
Can suplex the spider.
They
Your
feel
train of
it.
thought has been suplexed. And you can throw it.
Power bombed.
Again.
Nothing less than the spider deserves.
And again. This is for all the arachnophobes who can't watch this episode.
Standing. Oh, right. You're still here.
Yeah, it was like pew-pewing endlessly with its little arrows there, and Samson was just like, I don't care.
You really should have just seen what happened and just said, I concede. Like, you're not gonna do anything.
Shutting down now.
2-ton, like the 2-ton over here, just absolutely disassembling something bigger, stronger, and a hell of a lot meaner than you.
ずっと続けていたいくらい。あなたはどうかしら。
Maybe a bit less with the nightmares on the master, but yeah.
What penetrating gazes you have looking at an absolutely grinning Musashi.
そういう子って私の好物。
I think it's always important to remember that Musashi is ready to fight and cut someone down at like literally any moment, and that's like even in her saber form. She's thinking about like her next
Human
fight.
form.
今ならなんと頼れる味方のお姉さん。
Like Musashi is just ready to fucking murder at any moment's notice, and is ready to start a fight at any moment. There's like this little comedy short animated series based on a manga going around at the moment called Ritsuka Fujimaru Does Not Get It. And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's just like making jokes about like fake granddaughter and a lot of the weird sort of eccentricities of the characters and the servants and the systems, etc., etc. And there's just one where like Musashi and the Chaldees master bump into each other in a singularity, and they don't ever explain what's going on, but the master is selling manju in the street. Musashi's just like, I'm not going to question it. So what are you doing here? And then Kojiro runs up, holding the flag for their manju sales part. And Musashi's like, Kojiro, and wants to like start fighting him. So first he hides his face behind the flag. And she's like, it's you, isn't it? And he's like, no. And he pulls the flag away, and he's wearing a mask. They do this. They constantly do this bit where, like, if a character doesn't want to like show who they are, they'll be wearing this mask that's usually a part of like Mozart's thing. And so it's like this goofy-looking sort of pointed mask. And he's like, I am Manju Carmen. I love and I will protect all manju. And you see like a fly wrapped in manju. So he does the 3 strikes at once, but with like a fly swatter. And Musashi's like, I knew it! It was you! I challenged you to... And he just, like, stuffs manju in her mouth.
And runs away.
And then, like, she just, like, eats it and goes, oh, that's pretty nice, actually. and that just calms the whole thing down.
I mean, freaking understanding your enemy. You really want Musashi to calm down, just distract her with food.
They actually used that series as part of the announcement for Face Samurai Remnant Saber being part of the being added into the game, because they just had this long form thing throughout their New Year's special where Moriarty was trying to set up an announcement for it and was struck down, and so like young Moriarty and Chaldees Master were trying to track down the clues to try and get it together. And they actually think they've solved it, but they actually miss one of the pieces, which spells out Saber. But like it ends with like everyone having their New Year's party, and then just like Face Samurai Remnant Saber just being like, man, this stuff's really good. Can I have seconds? And the Chaldees Master's just like, what? What? And that was straight up how they announced it.
Jesus. I mean, there's a lot of style in that. You can't mess with it.
I genuinely, like, I will probably not do that this year. I don't know why. I think I stayed up mostly to watch the Fate Samurai Remnant stuff that New Year's. But, like, I had to, like, tune into a special site that was, like, broadcasting, like, the particular TV station, because it was a television broadcast. Oh dear. I was mostly watching because they had like Musashi and Saber just going around like talking about food in different like locations that were like relevant to the characters of the game. I've spoken about it a few times, you know, like Arya trying to duel Musashi, not being able to draw a sword, getting really dizzy in the attempt and falling over. Ku basically digging for clams with Gay Bolg. Gil just telling both of them to fuck off.
Yeah, but Gil channeling what I would do in that situation.
Saber not understanding how modern chopsticks work, and just like using 2 stuck together chopsticks. Because you know he's supposed to break them apart.
Right.
Saber's just like, but Saber's just like grabbed like 2 different ones to use as like a set of chopsticks. Because they came with the half udon, half
there's 4 chopsticks
like something else.
that Saber is dirtying up.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Like Japan really like doing like the weird little food advertisements, and holiday place advertisements mixed in with other stuff. But I'll forgive it because it always ends up in like really funny animations. Like I'll always remember when I went to Japan, and it was just at the time there was like this insurance company that had like Fist of the North Star as their fucking advertising, basically as their advertising like spokespeople for that. So it was like Kenshiro basically doing it was like You Are Shock and just like a whole bunch of like other weird shit.
What? You couldn't suplex Gil?
Only because I think he was unconscious. I think it was because he was on the ground.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah. We definitely couldn't get a Bukidoji. She was up, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I know like a lot of others, like a lot of other countries probably do the same thing, but I don't know. Like, I feel like the Japanese always just do it the funniest.
I mean, there's also one of the things that's really obvious when you visit Japan is that there's a very unified food culture there not insofar as, oh, there you go, there you got Gil.
Yeah, and suplexed her into a Bukidoji.
Freaking, and he tumbles like 20 feet. That's fantastic. But just in the sense of a surprising number of people have a surprisingly broad palette, and most people have a pretty good consensus as to what's good and what's bad. Like, so it works really easily for a lot of these people to just be advertising food, because it's just like everybody gets hungry about the same stuff.
Yeah, but I was talking about insurance. An insurance company had Fist of the North Star as what they were advertising.
Oh, I missed how you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Also, I got to see Samson do this. Oh fuck!
I think the cutscene interrupted the actual animation, like the grabbing part. It doesn't matter.
I thought she was gonna cut in and do something awful. I was so relieved when Samson managed to get the splash off.
Yeah, so I very much confirmed, you cannot suplex the snake.
Such a tragedy. I understand why. It's still a tragedy.
I mean, we suplexed the spider.
Yeah.
Something that's also interesting, and they finally sort of showed it off there, is that she has a weird sort of old Japanese art style motif in some of the the particle effects around her, and it's like a big part of her art in Fate Granddaughter as well. Like, Ryder incorporates a lot of things, which I suppose is to give it the more mystical, divine touch. That's something I just appreciate about the character.
This was something I kind of alluded to in a number of earlier episodes, but there's a very intricate visual language in Fate's designs, and I really appreciate that. There's so much heart that goes into it.
Yeah, they'll very often include stuff tied to the legends and things like that. Or other things, like one particular character, from the same summer event, she was the welfare one, the servant you get for free. She has a lot of little iconography over her that represents a lot of some of the other, because she originally arrived as a foreigner class, which means connection to the outer gods, etc., etc. But for the event, she was a saber. And she just has lots of iconography sort of representing the other foreigners on her clothing and stuff. It's really kind of cute. Because they're all, she's pretty good friends with all of them. Foreigners are funny.
Like a bunch of friendship bracelets that are just sewn all over her clothing. That's kind of adorable.
Yeah, it's the funny thing about foreigners is because most of them you look at and you're kind of like, oh, this person seems nice, and then as you get to know them, you learn they're completely horribly unhinged. But some of them are just they're mellow from the start and mellow from the end. And then there's the weird outliers like Voyager, who has no outer gods connection, but he's classed as a foreigner.
I mean, just because he's way far out.
Yeah,
literally
basically.
Way far out.
In Requiem, he's the Voyager class, which is its own thing, but they made him foreigner because they weren't going to just implement an entirely new, unique class just for him.
Right.
人の営みを思う存分満喫する。私はそのためにここへ来たのだけれど、こんな面白い子に会えるだなんて。我ながらすっごくラッキーだったかも。それに、あなたとはなんだか趣味も愛。
Well, there's the most backhanded compliment we've seen her give so far.
なんだか恐縮しちゃうけれど。
Indeed.
こたびの親善試合。いい経験になりました。 いつかどこかでまた会いましょう。
ええ、いずれまた。あなたも楽しませてくれたわね。愛に生きるバーサーカーなんていいもの。
Oh, okay, cool. So she knows exactly who he
マ
is.
スターのいないはぐれ。一体どんな因果で呼ばれてきたのやら。
I ain't saying.
花香るマスターのあなた、個人的には肩入れしてあげたいのだけれど、あなたの歩む道はあなたのもの。頑張ってね。なんだかよくわからないけど。そうさね。こうと決めたからには精一杯やってやるさ。これでいいかい、お姉さん。ひとまずはこんなところかしら。それじゃあ皆さんお世話になりました。安弘くんもいろいろありがとう。
Facepalm.
He really hates being called Yasuhiro-kun.
では改めて
Like he always talks about it the first time she calls him that. That's when he spits. Don't refer to me so casually.
ほんの
And just every time she does it again, he always reacts.
ほんの余興ねえ。まあいいわ。
This should be really good to see what the wish is.
分かっている。約束通り勝者の栄誉、願望機を授けよう。だがその前に一つ言わねばならぬことがある。
ん？
A trio of question marks.
あの邪神めが暴れ回ったおかげで願望機にたまる魔力はわずかばかり減じた。
むむむ？ってことは太夫の願いは。
慌てるな粗骨者。減じていようと莫大な魔力には変わりない。
I just can't change the world. Fortunately, Dayu didn't really want to change the entire world to begin
た
with.
願いであれば叶うとも。
それはま、仕方ないと割り切るしかないか。願いの全部は叶わないかもだけど、いいかしら太夫。
本当に私が願っていいのかい？あんたたちが勝ち取ったもんだよ。それは。
いいのよ。伊吹童子じゃないけど、私もあれと戦えて大満足。あなたも太夫のために戦ったんだものね。
I was gonna say, okay. I was wondering if this was gonna be another thumbs up.
I kind of wished at the time, but
いただくよ。
好きに願いなさい。
話は終わったか？では問おう。こたび無二の栄誉に至りし者よ、貴様らの願いは何だ？
ああ、私たちの願いは。
はーい、やってらっしゃい、見てらっしゃい。今日も生きのいいのが入ってるよ。今朝沖合で釣れたばっかりの大カジキ。お祝い事には欠かせないでしょ。あとは裏もやらないと。よーし。
すごいわ。
おっと危ねえぜ山吹さん。明日も市場やってんだから落ち着けって。
いい景色だね。本当にいい景色。あんたもそう思うかい？皆が好きなところで暮らし、望んだことを仕事にする、そういう世が来たっていいじゃないか。
来るよ。いつかきっと来る。あなたの願いは必ず届く。ここでなく、今でなく、 けれど明日の先のそのまた先にきっとね。
ああ、武蔵ちゃんにそう言われちゃなおさら諦められないね。何度だって挑んでみせるよ。願望期なんざなくたって自分の手で。いつだって私たちは生きる道を切り開いてきたんだから。
So yeah, out of all the wishes everyone could have granted, we've managed to see one actually fairly close to what was originally desired.
Right, like I can't. That was kind of what I was referring to. It's just like she's not asking for the stars to begin with. She really just wants all of the exploited women that are under her care to no longer be exploited. Like it's actually like pretty straightforward. So I presume the way we're supposed to read that is that she used the wish granter to get like a certain number of the women that she's protecting, you know, to the spot where she wants, but she still needs the normal grail to get the rest of it or something.
Yeah, they don't really sort of specify what's happened there. Generally, it sounds like she's managed to change the fate of her area. You can see Yamabuki there. She wasn't wearing her makeup or anything. She was tending a garden, and they were bringing in food, and they were setting up a market. So the general sort of course of the red light district has been altered incredibly, and yeah, it's a nice little story. And
yeah, it's delightful.
Yeah, you know, so someone got something out of it at least. There is there is one other character pair who actually also get exactly what they'd intended to wish for in the first place as well, and we'll see that down the line. But next time, it is the bromance. It is Zhou and Zheng, the two retainers looking to do right by their lords, and they are going to be throwing themselves into the Kaon Command Championship. And they are going to be, facing down the same trials as everybody else in their own highly competent way. Yeah, like they're a good time as well, because it's just like they're always just like very much just like, you know, needling each other on in a very nice way, and you get to see Zhou just like being like a shit stirrer in some fairly amusing ways as well. So until then, I've been the Last Robokai,
and I have been Cool Guy.
And we'll see y'all next time for more Fate Samurai Remnant Kain Command Championship.